Sue says this, and I agree with it now being a mom, but having a baby is probably the closest thing you could do to also working for a startup, because you are building processes and you are learning rapidly, and you are experimenting, and you are pivoting on a daily basis to try to meet the needs of this new little human that needs you at at every instance. And so I think there's a lot of correlation basically between parenting and startup life, and I've appreciated again those parallels, and I try to take the learnings honestly that I in my home environment to work, and vice versa. There are things I learn on the job that I can apply to my daily life as well, that have helped me be a better parent.
I think that's a lesson that from not being a parent, I think that's a lesson that a lot of people who are new parents have to learn. Actually, Lee Byron, one of our advisors and the creator of GraphQL, he actually just recently published a blog post about he tracks all of his time, and he wrote this blog post because he has two young sons, where he did these, maybe we can link it in the description of this podcast episode, where he has like two pie charts. And before kids, it's like, a third of his time was spent on work, a third of his time was spent on sleep, and then the last third is sort of pretty much half split between self-time and social time. That's just how he categorizes it, right? And then after kids, it's like a little bit less than a third of his time is spent on work, much less than a third of the time is spent on sleep, more than a third is now spent on children, and then self and social are basically just like these small slivers of pie chart that are barely left, right? And you can see how the children really have taken over both sleep time, but then largely self and social time, where it's just, you only have so much time, right? And so when you have to care for another human, that time has to come from somewhere, right? And you can only reduce sleep so much before everything starts breaking down, and you can only reduce work so much before everything starts breaking down. And so really just starts eating into social and self time.